Hi, in today's video I'm going to be covering how you can run shell scripts on Windows. Basically, I've written a load of shell scripts for ffmpeg that let you manipulate audio and video, trim video to the millisecond, the same with audio, and someone was asking, does it work on Windows? And yes, it does, and I'm going to show you how you can actually run shell scripts within the Windows subsystem for Linux and on the Windows desktop. So basically the first thing you need to do is actually set up the Windows subsystem for Linux. Now if you do a little Google for that, you'll find instructions on setting that up. So Windows subsystem for Linux. I agree, and I think there's a whole section here. Just right, okay, and if you search for stuff, you'll basically get information like this telling you how you can set it up. So that's beyond the scope of this tutorial. Basically, you set up Windows subsystem for Linux, and then you install Ubuntu from the Windows Store. Once you've done that, you'll have a little sort of icon you can launch the Windows, the Ubuntu terminal from. What you then need to do is actually set up these, install these scripts and set them up. And I've done a full video on how you can actually install these scripts on Linux. So basically all you need to do is actually follow that video, and that will allow you to install all these scripts inside the Windows subsystem for Linux so that you can actually use them to process audio and video. So after you've completed those steps, install the Windows subsystem for Linux and followed the tutorial to get these set up, there's full links on this page to how you do this. You will have all the scripts installed. So as you can see here, we have all these scripts installed that perform various functions and allow you to manipulate audio and video. And one of those is to trim audio and video to the millisecond. So what I'm going to do is show you how that works and how we can do that both inside the Windows subsystem for Linux and actually on the Windows desktop using the Windows command prompt. So what I'm going to do is I'll just close Firefox here, and what I've got is a if I come across to the desktop, I don't know how you can make the font bigger on this. Oh God, what happened there? It's a screen magnifier. So you can tell I don't use Windows, so I won't muck about with that. But basically, if I come across to the desktop, let me see if I can. How did I do that? Why won't it let me do more than 200? I don't know how you do that. Okay, I won't muck about with that, but you can see here I have a copy of the Pink Panther, and this is a video clip which is in the public domain, which I'm going to use for the demonstration. So what I want to do is actually trim, say, the first 30 seconds of this clip. Now I've done a full video tutorial on using this script I'm about to use, which you can refer to. So the script I'm going to run is called trim clip. Trim clip. If I run it with the -H option, it's actually going to print out here how you use this and the options that you can provide to it. So what we can do is we can run trim clip with the -S option and the start point where we want to start trimming from. Then we run the -I option and the in file that we're going to process, and the -T option, and that's going to let us specify where we want to stop trimming. So what I want to do is run trim clip -s, and I'm going to basically trim 30 seconds of this. So 000-I, Pink Panther was the Pink Panther, and I'm going to run -t, and this is the number of seconds after the start point. So I want to basically set 30 seconds, so 00:00:00 30, 30, and then I'm going to specify the -o option, which will allow me to specify an app file name. So I'm going to just call this trimmed.mp4, and what you can see here is it's actually processing the clip, and you can see we've got this trimmed.mp4 file here. So what I'm going to now do is move that file to the Windows desktop and show you that it's 30 seconds in length. So in a previous video I showed you some stuff about the Windows subsystem for Linux and how it works, and how you can move files between the Windows desktop and your Ubuntu install. So what we're going to do is run mv trimmed, and to actually get this onto the Windows desktop we need to specify -mount c users, username and desktop. And if I now come across to the desktop here, you will see this clip, and I'll open it with MPV and pause it, and you can actually see it's 30 seconds in length. So just close that. So that's the trimmed version. You can see here's the original version, which is 6 minutes 17. And again, this is a video that's in the public domain, so there's no copyright issues demonstrating this. So that's how we can actually trim the video clip inside the Windows subsystem for Linux. And to actually to get a file from your Windows desktop into the Windows subsystem for Linux, what I'll do is I'll just copy this, I'll just move this file back into the Ubuntu setup. So we're going to do the reverse. We do mv for move, mount c users, username, desktop, trimmed, and then we press at the end we do period, and that stands for the current directory. And you can see it's now disappeared, and it's now in the Windows subsystem for Linux folder again. So what I'm going to do now is show you how you can do the same thing but using the Windows command prompt on the Windows desktop. Now to do this you actually need to have everything set up. You need the Windows subsystem for Linux set up and all the scripts installed and all the packages you need, but we actually need to copy the script to the Windows desktop to run it. So what we're going to do is actually copy the script that we use, which is trim clip, to the Windows desktop. So we're going to copy that to mount C users. Okay, and you can see we've got the script here. So what we're going to do now is exactly the same thing but using the Windows command prompt. So you may find this easier rather than doing everything inside the Windows subsystem for Linux to actually do it on the Windows desktop. But the difference is you're going to need the script on the desktop or somewhere so that you can run it. So what I'll do now is close the Windows subsystem for Linux and open the command prompt. Okay, so this is the Windows command prompt. So we're going to change directory to the desktop. and standard Linux commands like list don't work in this, so you need to use dir. And you'll see here we have the pink panther in a fly in the pink, which is the video clip here, and the trim clip script. So the difference is when we run stuff in the command prompt, what we need to do is prefix the command with bash. So what we do is exactly the same command, except we prefix it with the word bash. So bash trim clip -s00 30 seconds, the in file pink panther 2000:00 30. And what I'm doing here actually is I'm setting the start point to be 30 seconds, and then the to option, the -t option, specifies the amount of time after the start point. So you'd think that this is just the way ffmpeg works. So we're saying start trimming the clip at 30 seconds, and we want to create a 30-second clip. So that's going to be creating a clip from 30 seconds to 60 seconds. So I'll specify -o for the out file name, and we'll call it trimmed.mp4, and give it a second, and you'll see it's processing the video. And if I open the video, you'll see it's not trimmed it from the beginning, it's trimmed it from 30 seconds in. So if I open this and go to, let's see if I can get to 30 seconds. So just wait down here. Okay, so that's 30 seconds in, and you can see here the beginning of the clip is at 30 seconds and the clip's duration is 30 seconds. So it's trimming it from 30 seconds to a minute, creating a 30-second clip. So here you can see that's the actual clip. So basically the difference is, if you want to use a script on the Windows side, you can't call the script that's installed in the Windows subsystem for Linux. You need it sort of on the Windows desktop. But all the libraries like ffmpeg and stuff like that will actually be used by the script. So we just run, and say we just ran bash. Well, I can bring up the command here, bash trim clip, and then all the options that we want to use, and that's going to trim the clip on the Windows side. Whereas if I open up Ubuntu and come to the desktop, you can see the difference here is we're running the script directly. We just run trim clip, -s, the options, -i, the file name, to, and the out file name. So it does exactly the same thing. It's just one's doing it inside the Windows subsystem for Linux, whereas the other is doing it on the Windows desktop. And as I said, you can actually copy files between, copy and move files between the Windows subsystem for Linux and the Windows desktop really easily. So again, you can see here's the trimmed file, so I can rm trimmed, and if I want to copy this file to inside the Windows subsystem for Linux, I'd run cp mount c users username desktop desktop. Oh, for what the, I think I had the on the keyboard. I've got it doesn't show if you've got the caps lock on. So that's how I can copy that file into the Windows subsystem for Linux. And I'll remove that, and I'll just move that file back now. So mv trimmed mount c users username desktop, and you can see it's moved the file from inside the Windows subsystem for Linux to the Windows desktop. And you can see that's the 30-second clip we created. So basically the steps are, first of all, installing the Windows subsystem for Linux, installing Ubuntu from the Windows Store, then installing the, setting up the libraries and stuff you're going to need, like ffmpeg on Ubuntu. And then you've got two choices. You can either you can actually run stuff using Ubuntu on the Windows subsystem for Linux. You can use this, or you can use the Windows command prompt. And it said the difference is when you're running the scripts in the Windows subsystem for Linux, you can call them directly. So trim clip -h there. You can see that's showing the help option, whereas if I want to do the same thing using the command prompt on the Windows side, you have to prefix the command with bash. So bash, and we're going to need to actually copy these scripts to the desktop to actually run it. So you can see the script here. I'm on the desktop, dir. You can see that corresponds to these files here. We got those there. Let me just delete that. So the difference is we run bash trim clip -h -h, and you can see it's printing out the help menu the same way we were in the Windows subsystem for Linux. So that's the difference between the two, is that if you're using the command prompt, you need to prefix the command with bash, and the script needs to actually be you know, in the current directory on the Windows side. So that gives you two ways to do it: either actually running the scripts inside Ubuntu on the Windows subsystem for Linux, or using the command prompt on the Windows side, so that you can which you may find easier, rather than copying files in and out of the Windows subsystem for Linux. You may just find it easier to process them here. So let's do this again. Bash trim clip. We'll trim. Say we'll trim from a minute. So we'll start trimming at a minute, and we'll create a, say, 20-second clip. So the Pink Panther and -t 00, and this is the number of seconds after the start point. Okay, so this is going to be trimming a clip from 1 minute to 1 minute 20. So hours, minutes, seconds. The -o option for the file name, trimmed.mp4. And you can see it's created a 20-second clip. So what I'm going to do here is open this up, come across to a minute. See if I can find, okay, so that's about a minute into the clip. So if I open this trimmed version here, you'll see that's where it's trimmed it from, and it's a 20-second clip. So if I move this across, a bit quick there, so hang on. I'll just leave that, pause it so you can see it's. So that's roughly 20. That's the end of the 20-second clip. If I do the same thing here, you'll see that's 1 minute 20, and we've basically trimmed the clip from 1 minute to 1 minute 20 and created a 20-second clip. And you can see that that's bang on. And I say you can actually trim stuff to the millisecond, and I've done a video on how you can enable MPV to actually show milliseconds in the player, so that you can actually go frame by frame and actually trim something to the absolute to the dot. So you know, you can trim it exactly the frame you want to the millisecond by looking at the time code in the video and using that in the options here. So you can actually trim something perfectly without having to use a video editor. So that's how you can actually run shell scripts on Windows using the Windows subsystem for Linux, either inside the Windows subsystem for Linux or on the Windows desktop. And basically what it means is you can basically run shell scripts that you would normally run on Linux on Windows to actually, you know, trim stuff, process audio and video using things like ffmpeg. So that was basically responding to a question I got about some scripts I'd written and if they would run on Windows, and yeah, they will do, and that's how you can do it. And you've got the two options on how you're gonna, you know, process stuff either on the Windows desktop using the command prompt or inside the Windows subsystem for Linux. But you may find it easier rather than copying things in and out and moving in between the Windows desktop and the Windows subsystem for Linux, to just do it all on the Windows side using the command prompt. But the only difference is, as I said, you have to prefix the command with the word bash to actually get it to work. So if I was just to I'll just demonstrate that here. Desktop. If I've got the script here. If I run trim clip -h, trim clip is not recognized as an internal or external command, operable program or batch file. But if I run bash trim -clip -h, you'll see it works. So that's the trick. All you need to do is prefix the command with bash. If you actually try and run sh, which is like the Bourne shell, it won't work. Trim clip -h is not recognized. I don't know if I've got ZSH installed. No, so just stick with bash. Even though this is a shell script, it's a Bourne shell script using the bin sh, which is usually symlinked to something like dash or something on Linux, whereas on Unix it would actually be the proper Bourne shell. But we just need to run any script with the bash prefix and it will work on the Windows side, whereas on the Ubuntu side here, we can just run trim clip -h and it'll work. So that's the difference between the two, and how you can move stuff in between the Windows subsystem for Linux and the Windows desktop. And basically the path is, let me just come to the desktop here. So to copy stuff from the Windows side to Ubuntu, what we're going to do is we'll run cp, we'll move the clip, we'll move the video, mv mount C users username desktop trimmed and dot, which means the current directory. So you can see that's now moved it, and you can see here if I run ls, you'll see trimmed.mp4. And if I want to move this file to the Windows desktop, I'll do the reverse. mv trimmed mount C users username desktop, and you'll see the clips come there. So what it means is you can do all your processing inside the Windows subsystem for Linux, you know, and then just basically move the files to the Windows desktop very easily. Or if you prefer, you can use the command prompt, and I said the only difference is that you need to prefix you need to copy the script to the Windows side and prefix the command with the word bash, so trimclip-h. And so that's basically how you can use shell scripts on Windows, either inside the the Windows subsystem for Linux or on the Windows desktop, rather than writing batch files or whatever. You may find it easier, and you're not going to find as many batch files as there are shell scripts. So what it means is that you can basically use stuff that you would on Linux on Windows, and you've got two options to do it. So that was basically answering a question about, you know, can I use these shell scripts that I've written for ffmpeg on the Windows side? And yes, you can, and that's how you can do it. And as I said, basically, I did a complete video setup on how you can install the scripts. So all you need to do is set up the Windows subsystem for Linux, follow that video, and that will get all the scripts and everything installed on Linux. And you can then just carry on like you would normally on Linux. Or if you prefer to do stuff on the Windows desktop, just copy the scripts to the Windows desktop and prefix them with the word bash, and then you can do exactly the same thing using the Windows command prompt, which you may find easier rather than copying files in and out of the Windows subsystem for Linux. So that's basically how you can get some Linux love on the Windows desktop with these two methods, and just basically make things a bit easier so that you can process audio and video using ffmpeg on the command line to trim clips, split audio and video, extract extract images. You can extract a frame from the video and save it as an image. Let me see if let me open up that again. ls bin. So these are all these scripts. Some of these ones here, like combine clips. What that will do is that will combine a audio and will actually perform several functions. It will allow you to take an image and an audio file and combine them into a video file, or you can let me see. Combine clips -h, combine an image or video file with an audio clip. So what it will actually allow you to do is either combine a audio file and an image to create a video clip, or it will allow you to take a video file and combine it with a audio clip and create a new video clip with the new audio track. So there's several scripts I've written to process audio and video, and I did a whole video series on those. Let me just open up this. I'll just come to actually GitHub, and come to the ffmpeg scripts and come down here, scripts install. So this is the install, and it's going to prompt me, you know, here you go. And then it will load up in YouTube. So this is the first video. This is how you can install the scripts, and this is part of a playlist. So come across here, playlists, editing audio and video with ffmpeg, and this is basically all of the scripts and basically videos on how you use them and how you set them up. So you've got trim video, clips, combine clips, extract frame, EBU meter, which basically shows the loudness of a particular clip. You can show statistics using loud norm, normalize the audio. You can extract a waveform which will create a image of the waveform on the clip. Image to video will basically convert a image to video clip. You can fade clip, so you can fade a clip in and out, fade normalize, fade and add a title. You can add audio silence to a clip. You can overlay a clip, which is a bit like basic editing. So you can actually overlay a video clip on top of another clip, so it's like a cutaway. Also adding subtitles to a file. So what that's doing is that will allow you to take a subtitles file and add it as a subtitles track into a video. It's not hard coding the subtitles track over the video. It's actually creating a subtitle track you can toggle on and off, fade between clips, zoom pan, which is like the Ken Burns effect. Also I've written some scripts that will allow you to basically color correct videos on the command line, extract audio, extract video, change the audio rate, convert stereo to mono, change your video's frame rate, resize a video, concatenate videos so you can join them together. Here's the one I was mentioning earlier, MPV, show milliseconds in the OSD, trim clips to the millisecond, extract a frame from a video to the millisecond, so you can extract a particular frame and save it as an image. Also tile thumbnails, which will basically create a contact strip of the video, so it will basically create a sheet showing all different frames from the video. Also picture in picture, so you can actually create a picture in picture effect, as you can see in this video here. It will allow you to do that, and also how you can create high quality GIF animations, which basically look exactly like a video. And finally a script that will show the histogram vector scopes, waveform and RGB parade over the video. So it's actually, that's something similar to that you'd get in a video editor like DaVinci Resolve. It will actually show you the vector scope, the RGB parade, and it will also show stuff like it's got something to show the skin tone, so you can actually see if in the vector scope if the skin tone in the video is off. So those are all the scripts that you can actually use, and you can use all of those on the Windows side, or should be able to. There may be some, I'm not sure about this one. Let's actually try that out. So I think some of the ones here you'd have to might not sort of work, because they're not exactly the command line. They're showing something in the display. So what I'm going to do now is let me copy let me see, which one was that called? Scopes. Let me just see if this works. Okay, there we got the scopes. So what I'll do is I'll just close this here, and I'll run bash scopes -h, which will give me the options. So these are the options that I can use. So let me just try this. Bash scopes -I trimmed. I don't think this will probably work, but no, could not initialize SDL, no available video device. So some of them might not actually sort of work, and that's not working, but let me try the same thing on the Windows side and see if it works. So scopes -I, the pink panel. So I wouldn't imagine this would work either. No. Okay, so it's basically because we were though that particular script opens a video player, it uses ffplay, which I don't. Yeah, I've got ffplay installed, but it won't. Yeah, I can't run ffplay on the Windows subsystem for Linux and getting it to open a player. But I think relatively soon you're going to be able to run Linux GUI applications in Windows, so that might work in the future. But so there may be some scripts that will give you issues if they sort of open a video player or something, but anything that's actually just purely on the command line will work both in the Windows subsystem for Linux and using the command prompt on the Windows side. So that's how you can run shell scripts on Windows using the two methods, and some of the gotchas and some of the things that work and some of the things that don't. So that's all for now, and I'll turn this off. Let me just switch back here and turn this video off.